Right, Shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Racha Kodash. Double honors to the elders and the apostles of Great Millstone, and peace and blessings to the elect. And this is going to be somewhat of a slight response slash add-on to this video that was done by the elder brother Racha Yaquam from London. His channel name is GMS Fear the Most High 7 Ba. I linked the video that he did right here, Leviticus 18, family rammings, and the like in the description box. So, definitely watch it. Very good content in there. And in essence, he mentioned that you had recently there was basically like a leaked video, or you had this brother and his sister committing the act of incest, and I guess the dude's girlfriend got access and sent it, and then the video got leaked and so on and so forth. But nevertheless, he was mentioning pretty much these immoral relations that take place, not only among the heathen but especially among Israelites. Okay, there's a high level of immoral sexual relations, okay, and really just wickedness all around. Okay, I mean, the wickedness that is upon the face of the earth right now is suffocating. Okay, um and I mean wickedness with intention. You got individuals that deliberately, they do these things with no conscience, nothing of that sort, to hold them back. Okay, the scriptures tell you that in the book of Romans, the first chapter, that the Most High, they did not want to retain the Most High in their minds, so He gave them over to that reprobate spirit. All right, shalom, shalom, Yahweh Bashem Yahushua Barakatham, to all you sincere listeners. So I wanted to go into a few precepts here, just to bring out a few points on this, because looking at the state of or the condition of the earth now, I mean, it has to be in this has to be the last go around. Okay, I can't even envision how much more wicked things can get. All right, given how the Most High set it up, all right, this has to be the end. Because when we turn around and we see this level of I mean, just pure immorality, okay, and just perverseness, like I said, it's suffocating to live amongst this kind of these kinds of people. All right, to be in these fleshly bodies and be subject not only to having to bear these things, okay, but as the Apostle Paul said, having to be subject to them. Okay, being that we're not perfect, because we're not here saying that we're perfect and we never do anything off. Okay, however, the difference with the elect is that it's as the scriptures say, the spirit is willing but the flesh is weak. Okay, or in other words, as the Apostle Paul said, for it is not I that sinneth, but sin that dwells in me. Because there's that constant war with your members, right? Your spirit versus your flesh. And as we always say, the flesh does not differentiate between right and wrong. The flesh simply knows what it wants. Okay, the heart wants what it wants, and that's why the heart is desperately wicked, pursuant to Jeremiah the 17th chapter and the 9th verse. I believe in Proverbs it also tells you that there is a way that seemeth right unto a man, but the end thereof is death. So you always have to go with the spirit. Now, I want to start off with the book of First Peter chapter Slakia, Second Peter chapter 2, verse 4. It says, "For if God spared not the angels that sinned, but cast them down to hell, and delivered them into chains of darkness to be reserved unto judgment." Now, we know that this verse is not speaking about like the angels in the heavens right now, angel Gabriel and Michael and so on and so forth. Okay, but it's really speaking about us. And an example is when you read in the book of Genesis, it talks about how you had I believe they translate it as Nephilim or so, but really when you go into the Hebrew, it goes into the fallen ones. All right, or sorry, it's giants. I believe it's the word is giants, And when you go into it, it goes into the fallen ones, because originally when we were created, all right, the sons of God, we were made to be immortal. Okay, but due to transgression, we went off, and the Lord, in essence, took that away and then made us subject to mortality. Okay, in essence, as it says, when we went off, he cast us down to hell, not a fiery place where you burn forever, but into a hellish condition. And along with that came that mortality. Okay, being subject to death and all these other things that come with, as it says, delivered them into the chains of darkness. Okay, which are in essence these fleshly mortal bodies. And that's what they are. They are chains of darkness, because they bind you, all right, with the lust of the flesh. Okay, and that's why, once again, quoting the Apostle Paul, he said that for the thing that I would, that I do not, and the thing that I would not, that I do. Meaning that your spirit wants to be righteous all the time. However, that is not the case, because we are in this flesh, and yet there are things that are off that you shouldn't do, but sometimes you might end up slipping up and doing it, not intentionally, but being in the flesh, you're subject to sin. So that means that you're not going to be perfect. It doesn't mean that you're going to deliberately go and sin, but what it means is that you're not perfect. So at one point or another, you will be subject, you will slip, you will fall. But that's why we have that mercy and that grace through Yahushua. So it goes on to read verse 5, and spared not the old world. So what was the old world? The old world was the world, or the age, the time period prior to the Lord bringing that flood upon the earth. Okay, all the way from the time of Adam's generation down to Noah. That was the old world. And even then, you still had the spirits you have today. However, they were more so classified into three classifications of men. You had the sons of God, which were the chosen line, from Adam through Seth, okay, all the way on down. Jared, Mahalaleel, Enoch, Methuselah, all of them. Okay, and then you had the sons of the wicked, which they were there as well. And then you also had the sons of men, the heathen nations. So the old world being that the age prior to the flood, as they call the deluge, which is another way of saying the flood. But it says, and the Most High spared not the old world. And how did he not spare it? Because he brought a flood. It says, but saved Noah, the eighth person, because you had Noah and you had his three sons, making it 4. And then you also had Noah's wife, making it 5. And then you had the wives of Noah's 3 sons, making that 8. So it says the eighth person, a preacher of righteousness. So what does that tell you? If Noah was a preacher of righteousness, he had to have, in his time, been at least to some degree preaching, the gospel to an extent. Okay, because Noah, being warned of the flood, had to have been told why the flood was coming, because of all this wickedness. But the Lord told him, build the ark, and you will be delivered. Now, do you think Noah just kept that to himself? Of course not. But then again, seeing that only him and 8 and 7 others were saved, that goes to show you, did anybody really take heed? No. So it says, bringing in the flood upon the world of the ungodly, and turning the cities of now it's talking about another occasion, right? And it says, and turning the cities of Sodom and Gomorrah. So this is post flood, into ashes. And how did he do that? When he sent the angels in there to cast down that fire and brimstone on those cities. It says, condemned them with an overthrow, making them an ensample, which is another way of saying an example, onto those that after should live ungodly. So what were they doing in Sodom and Gomorrah that was considered ungodly, so much so that the Lord reduced that place to ashes? When you go into the book of Genesis, you read about how they were into all types of sexual immoralities, okay? Mainly sodomy. But it didn't stop there. Even to the extent that when the angels came in to where Lot was, these wicked men of that city wanted to, as the scriptures say, know them, which is just another way of saying they wanted to have, sexual intercourse with them. And Lot even said, hey, look, you can take, I would rather you take my daughters instead. And these men were so filled with such demonic energy that they weren't hearing that, had to be smitten with blindness. Okay, that was an example of how not to live. And the Lord brought the destruction to show you, look, this is the consequence when you live like that. But the point that I wanted to get here is in verse 7. It says, and delivered just Lot. Just not in the sense of, oh, you got just one apple, as in it's only Lot, but just as in, let's actually look up the word just here. So it says righteous, okay, observing divine laws. You have in the Greek, dikaios. Okay, it says in a wide sense, upright, righteous, virtuous, keeping the commandments of God. So Lot definitely had to have come back as an Israelite because his spirit was that of the Son of God. All right. When I say Son of God, I mean of the line of the sons of God. It says, of those who seem to themselves to be righteous, who pride themselves to be righteous, who pride themselves in their virtues, whether real or imagined, approved or accepted of God. Okay, so in essence, righteous. So just Lot, meaning he was righteous. Obviously, it's not only Lot because it says, because it wasn't just him that got delivered. But as it says, and just Lot vexed with the filthy conversation of the wicked. And when you look into the word conversation, it doesn't mean necessarily he overheard people talking about wickedness, which I'm sure he did. But when you go into the Greek is anastrophe, and it says manner of life, conduct, behavior. So Lot was vexed because he was living among individuals, and let's actually look up the word filthy. Does this mean they just didn't take showers? And so he was upset about that? No, but it says unbridled lust, excess, licentiousness, lasciviousness, wantonness, outrageousness, shamelessness, insolence. So these people were, as they would say here, on demon time. They were just given into whatever desires, worse than the Epicureans. Okay, whatever sick desires just popped into their head. Okay, men popping men, probably popping children, probably popping animals, and living there. It's just like today, living in Babylon. This is something that is accepted. It's something that is made a part of the community, a part of the lifestyle here. And we get vexed every time we see it, every time we hear about it. It's vexing. So when you hear about things like this, like family rammings and all these other things that are going on, and yet it's just another day in Babylon. So we are also likened onto Lot in this situation. We're vexed with the filthy lifestyle of the wicked. There's just complete wickedness going on left and right. And sometimes it feels as though, damn, Lord, like you just like, when is it going to end? When are you going to put a stop to it? It's just been going on, and clearly it's getting worse and worse and worse. But it's like, how much more are you going to allow before it's honestly draining to live in a society that is constantly filled with wickedness, because you have to be able to put yourself in a mental state where you're not overly affected by it, where you can block these things out and focus on what you have to do day to day. Because the second you sit down and let it all sink into your mind, then you start to get very, very, very vexed, overwhelmed with the vexation of this place. And you don't want to put yourself in a place where you're wearing yourself out daily, because you're letting the wickedness of this place get to you to that point. See, but every now and then it does get to you, and then you get vexed, and you think in your mind like, Lord, right? Verse 8, it says, for that righteous man dwelling among them, in seeing and hearing, vexed his righteous soul from day to day with their unlawful deeds. This isn't like a once every 5 years kind of thing. Like, this is something you hear on the regular, and they just keep on going. Then they come on and say the Pope said this, and then now they, it just a transformer, a Decepticon wins, I don't know, man of the year or woman of the year, like stupid things like that. And it is vexing, because we are not we're not made. It's like being in hell and being conscious of the fact that you're in hell. It's one thing when you didn't know you were in hell, you were just there. But now it's like, damn. Okay, so I wanted to bring this out just to set the tone starting off. Okay, because these are the kinds of things that we deal with. But remember that the kingdom is eternal. And as the apostle Paul said, the sufferings of this present time do not compare to the glory that shall be revealed in us. So at the end of the day, all the sufferings, all the things we go through now, the kingdom is going to be eternal. It's going to far surpass all of this. So regardless of how stressful and vexing it is here, the kingdom will make up for it and then some. And that's why we have to be patient. But like the apostle Gabar always goes into, patience meaning to suffer. It's not easy to be patient, especially when you are not in a pleasurable situation. So moving on, this is the book of Isaiah, chapter 26, verse 8. It says, "Yea, in the way of thy judgments, O Lord, have we waited for thee." And that's the spirit that we're in, where we're earnestly waiting for the Lord to instill proper and righteous judgment. I mean, that first 1,000 years when Yahushua comes back is going to be a beautiful thing to see, because right now we're experiencing the world being covered with more and more darkness. It's just like a darkness that is swept over the whole planet, and then there's just like a second coating of it that's going making its iterations, constantly consuming every form of light and righteousness on the planet Earth. And here we are, and it's like, damn, we're so few in number, and yet everywhere around you is just a constant. Even if you're around people and you don't say anything, energy and vibrations are real. You have a positive energy, and sometimes, whether it's the workplace or school or wherever it is, you can just feel your energy be drained, having to spend so long around people that ooze with demonic energy. So it says, "Yea, in the way of thy judgments, O Lord Yahweh, Bahasham Yahushai, have we waited for thee, and the desire of our soul is to thy name, and to the remembrance of thee," as the scripture said would be the case, pursuant to Baruch 2 and 28 on down. "With my soul have I desired thee in the night, yea, with my spirit within me will I seek thee early. For when thy judgments are in the earth, the inhabitants of the world will learn righteousness." And there are times when it feels like it can't come soon enough, that the judgments of the Lord can't break forth in the earth soon enough. But that's why it's important to stay on your watch and pay attention, because when you do that, you'll see that, yeah, the judgments are coming forth, and we're getting closer and closer and closer to that point. And there's a reason why Habakkuk 2 is written about, "Though it tarry, wait for it," because clearly whatever this is, which we know what it is, but the magnitude and the level of chaos that it will be is something that is going to be, it's going to be unfathomable, put it like that. And that's why the scriptures refer to it as a time like never before. And that time is going to set everything straight. Best believe it. So we just hope and pray that the Lord has mercy on us, because trust and believe that nothing that you are doing now against that time, when I say against that time, I mean anything you do now with the mindset that, oh, it is what it is, I'll just deal with whatever else comes after, or whatever I want to do now is worth more than whatever you guys are saying is about to happen. You're telling us to prepare and repent and yada yada. Well, whatever I got to do now is more important to me. Guaranteed, when the time of Jacob's trouble hits, there's going to be nothing that you can turn back and look at and say, it's bad now, but whatever I did, whatever I wasted my time on in the world was worth it. No, it's all going to be regret, because in your mind, you're going to say there's nothing absolutely nothing, whether it was getting money, whether it was getting a house, or whatever it is that you chose over serving the Lord, nothing is going to amount to being worth it. When you are starving to death, when you're being torn apart by wild beasts, or you're being raped, whether you're a man, woman, or child, or you're being prepared to be eaten, or you're just in a very, very bad predicament, you're caught by a certain disease, or whatever the case is, whatever the form of judgment the Lord has for you. Trust and believe when that judgment comes upon you, you will be feeling a level of fear that incapacitates you, that you can't even function right, that you've never felt before. And at that point, you won't be thinking about the life you lived before this thing happened and how good it was and how happy you are to have lived that life. Because whenever people are in an uncomfortable situation, the first thing they think about is how can I get out of this situation? And that's what others use for their advantage, right? If I put you in a tight spot and your brain is going to be telling you, get out of this. It doesn't matter what you have to do. Get out of this situation now. And then that's where you have desperation. And then through desperation, they get what they want, right? Give me $1 million. Oh, fine. Take it. Take the whole account. I don't care. Just stop it. See, but when you deal with the Lord, the Most High is not going to give you an opportunity to cop out or cop a plea. Oh, Lord, please, whatever you want, I'll do it. You don't understand. See, the death angels are going to let you know. They're going to explain to you. You don't understand. That's not how this works. This isn't your time to now try and strike a deal and a bargain with me. That's why it says, when thy judgments are in the earth, the inhabitants of the world will learn righteousness. It's going to be very clear to them. Okay. It's going to be very clear to them that, you know what, the goal of these judgments is not for me to find a way out. This is it. This judgment is a punishment for the deeds that I did. This isn't a warning for me to get right. This is a punishment, meaning that it is to repay me for something that I did. As where a warning is to make sure you get the message, and that way you can change your ways. But in the time of Jacob's trouble, it's going to be the warnings are coming out now. These are the warnings. But as the scriptures say, the Most High speaketh once, yea, twice, yet man perceiveth it not. So when the time of Jacob's trouble hits and the judgments start flowing like waters, there's going to be no mercy that the Lord is going to show save to his elect. So this wickedness that's going on all around, there's going to be a more than equivalent level of judgment to balance it out. This is the book of Habakkuk, chapter 1, verse 1. It says, the burden which Habakkuk the prophet did see. O Lord Yahweh, how long shall I cry, and thou wilt not hear? Even cry unto thee of violence, and thou wilt not save. And sometimes it does feel that way. That we because you don't always have to literally cry, but there are groanings and anguish that your spirit feels that you may not utter, you may not say a word about, and yet your spirit is able to cry unto the Lord. And the Lord hears that. And sometimes it feels as though, how long are we just going to be in this condition? And the Lord knows how we feel about it. He sees what's going on, and it's as though he's not hearing it or he's not doing anything. But as I'm going to go to in the next precept, the Lord is bound by his word, meaning that everything has to happen at the appointed time. He can't just go around, I'm going to override this and override that and change this and change that. No. And that's why on our part, we have to exercise that patience. But it doesn't mean that you won't feel this way at times. Right? Verse 3, it says, why dost thou show me iniquity and cause me to behold grievance? For spoiling and violence are before me, and there are that raise up strife and contention. Verse 4, therefore the law is slacked, and judgment doth never go forth. And that's the thing. We know the law. We know what the scriptures say is the right thing to do. And yet we're constantly witnessing the opposite. And we're constantly witnessing the lack of enforcement of this, because we're not in a position of power to do so. And we try our best to keep these laws, but, even we fall short. But as it says, therefore the law is slacked, and judgment doth never go forth. And that's why the level of wickedness, that's why you got family rammings and all this madness going on. Okay, and I mean different levels of just complete wickedness. The earth is just filled with violence on all different levels, all different aspects. People are not even people anymore. They're just there. They're just like zombies. Everybody walks around with a mindset of just either trying to get one up on somebody or trying to do. I mean, they're just gone, man. There's no what is it? Agape, no hospitality, no affection, no nothing. Especially here in this land. Okay, these are just demons with human masks walking around, and you don't want to find that out the hard way. So it says here, for the wicked doth compass about the righteous, therefore wrong judgment proceedeth, and that's what we see going on. Okay, constantly. See, so I mean, when you hear these things, you get vexed, you pray unto the Lord, you cry unto the Lord, you throw curses upon this place, and yet it's as though it keeps on going, and it just keeps on going. And it's like, Lord, why don't you just you know what I'm saying? Just like randomly just like set these people on fire, like do some divine out of this world scene thing. Like just, I don't know, set one of them mole parades over there in Tel Aviv, just hit all of them with spontaneous combustion. Or just have, I don't know, just open the earth up, swallow people, like, like, just show that, put that fear in the earth. But it's not time yet. Okay, it's not time yet. Moving on, this is the book of Second Ezra, chapter 4, verse 30. It says, "For the grain of evil seed hath been sown in the heart of Adam from the beginning." And this is the angel Uriel speaking with Ezra. Because even during the time of Esdras, he was in the spirit of he was vexed, but in his vexation, he wanted to know, well, why are we in this condition? You say, almost like you say one thing, Lord, but then look at how you're treating us. Are we not your chosen people? You said you made the world for our sakes. All of these things are for us, but then we're wicked. How are we ever going to get it? What's the point? So he was in that spirit asking these questions. And so the Lord sent the angel Uriel down to, in essence, comfort him, but also give him these answers. And now it's been preserved for us in this time that we may also have that comfort and that knowledge. So it says, the grain of evil seed hath been sown in the heart of Adam from the beginning. And how much, and that's why it says in Romans 8 that the creature not willing was subject to vanity. Because what happens when you sow seed into the ground under the perfect conditions, regardless, inevitably, it will grow and it will bear fruit. And that's what happened. Adam was made to be immortal, and yet a grain of evil seed was sown into him. So he was made to be immortal, but according to the storyline, he wasn't made to stay immortal, at least not for that time. Okay, there was a whole story that had to come from the fall of Adam. So as it goes on, it says here, and how much ungodliness hath it brought up onto this time. So from the time of Adam and his transgression, all the way up until the time of Ezra, shortly after, the Babylonians destroyed Jerusalem. So up until that time, the angel is saying, how much wickedness had that seed that was planted in Adam brought forth up until your time, Ezra, and how much shall it yet bring forth until the time of threshing come, which is that time of judgment, where the Lord brings that ultimate judgment and sets everything correct. So from the time of Ezra all the way up until now, if we roughly estimate Ezra around 500 years BC, 500 BC, prior to the Lord coming on the scene, and now we're about what, post 2,000 years. So that's about 25 or 20, 25, between 25, 26, 2,700 years from the time of Ezra. And during the time of Ezra, there were levels of wickedness that Jake were doing, sacrificing their children, getting into all these forms of idol worship and sacrifice and so on and so forth. But I mean, look at the level of wickedness that has gone from the time of Ezra even up until now. It says, ponder now by thyself how great fruit of wickedness the grain of evil seed hath brought forth. So from that seed that was planted, look at all the wickedness that has come forth. Even if you just look at the wickedness in the nation of Israel. It says, and when the ears shall be cut down, which are without number, how great a floor shall they fill? So the angel is speaking to Ezra, but he's using the analogy of planting. and growing. So say you planted a grain, you planted like corn or something, right? It grows and it comes, ear, like you have an ear of corn. So he's saying here, he's comparing the fruit of wickedness likened onto crops, So he's saying here, like, how much it said when the ear shall be cut down, meaning when the time of the harvest comes, when you finally reap the harvest and you thresh them, which is metaphorical for when the time of judgment comes. And he's saying these ears are without number. You can't even count the level of iniquity that will be at the time of the great judgment that the Lord is going to bring. It says, how great a floor shall they fill? So, because what you would do is you would take the crops, and then you would bind them up into sheaves. So the reapers would have a sickle that they will use to cut the crops, and they would bind them up into sheaves and then saddle them on the asses, take them to a threshing floor. That's why they had threshing floors. The threshing floor is like it sounds. It's a special kind of floor, a hard floor that is made so you can thresh. You literally beat the chaff and all these things off of the grain. Okay, so that's what they would do. They would put it all on the floor and they would thresh it. Then I answered and said, how and when shall these things come to pass? Wherefore are our years few and evil? So when is it going to be over? When is the judgment going to come, and the everything is going to be set right, and we're going to be good again? And he answered me, saying, do not thou hasten above the most highest, for thy haste is in vain to be above him, for thou hast much exceeded. Did not the souls also of the righteous ask question of these things in their chambers, saying, how long shall I hope on this fashion? When cometh the fruit of the floor of our reward? And that's the same spirit we're in now, right? As we hope on the same fashion, and we know that nothing is going to happen until the Most High gives the green light, and we don't know when that exact day is going to be. We know it's close, but at the same time, we also know that the wickedness is just continuing to pollute the whole earth. And it's just sometimes it's unbearable to just see and to behold. And the painful part is you have no option. You can't do anything. You have to just deal with it. You have to just deal with it. But that's why we have the scriptures. That's why it's called a comforter. It says, and unto these things Uriel the archangel gave them answer and said, even when the number of seeds is filled in you, for he hath weighed the world in the balance. So there would be a certain number of times in which those spirits will have to come back before it would be the last time. And the Lord he has weighed all of that, and he has set it for an appointed time, which we don't know. Okay. But we believe it's in this generation, definitely. It says, by measure hath he measured the times, and by number hath he numbered the times, and he doth not move nor stir them until the said measure be fulfilled. So that's the part in which we have to exercise patience, because it doesn't matter what you do. It's going to happen when the Lord has said it to happen. It's not like he's just eeny, meeny, miny, mo, and then boom. He already has an appointed time that he already set up. That's the thing. It's not like he's undecided. He's already set up the time, and he's not going to change it. But I mean, it's crazy, man. It's crazy. Like that's why we constantly pray for fewer days. We constantly pray for the Lord to speed these days up. Lord, if you're not gonna say the Lord said it for like April 15th, right? You say, okay, the Lord said it's going to be on April 15th. I'm not changing that. It's going to be on April 15th. Then you know what, Lord? It's okay. You don't have to change it from April 15th, but just speed up the days. Turn 24 hours into like 5 hours. That way we can get to April 15th as quick as possible. Sometimes it just be like that. All right. So this is the book of Baruch, chapter 4, verse 24. It says, like as now the neighbors of Zion have seen your captivity, so shall they see shortly your salvation from our God, which shall come upon you with great glory and brightness of the everlasting. And that's the thing. It's crazy because this is in the time of Baruch, and he's saying, so shall they see shortly. Shortly, thousands of years does not really feel too short, man. But hey, it is what it is. Shalom, shalom. Yep, stay in the spirit 144. That's why watching for prophecy is comforting. Con. Yeah. Because when you watch for those prophecies, you actually see things happening, and all of a sudden it doesn't feel like nothing is going on and you're just here and everything is just dull. But sometimes, man, boy, oh boy. So it says, verse 25, my children, suffer patiently the wrath that has come upon you from God. And that's the thing. It's all a balance, because we haste and we yearn for this thing to happen, but then we always got to remember, like even Micah said, that I will bear, I believe it was Micah, right? I will bear the indignation of my God, for I have sinned against him. So as it says, suffer patiently the wrath that has come upon you, because then technically the Lord can hit you with the case that, well, you're in this situation because of your actions. And I'm having mercy on you. So really, you're not in a position to rush me. But then again, so it's all a balance. Okay. But we take comfort in the fact that things are happening. Okay. The Lord has not forsaken us. He hasn't just left us here and we're just having to deal with all this. No. Trust and believe. You get pissed off, you get vexed. Sometimes you feel impatient. How do you think Yahushua feels? How do you think the Most High feels? Yahushua knows more than we do. Okay, Yahweh himself, the scriptures say that it is his good will, his good pleasure to give us the kingdom. He wants to see his children happy and enjoying all the things that, look at this, I got this, I got, oh, bet you I had that. He wants to because what happens when the Lord shows us more and more of his glory, we praise him all the more, and that's what he likes. But right now, it doesn't matter how the Lord might want to feel or how we feel. It has to go according to what his word is. And his word is, your ass is in captivity until I take you out. Okay. So we take joy in the fact that, okay, our captivity is coming to an end. And how do we measure that? Look at these prophecies. And that's why it's so key. Because you know why certain people lose their patience is because they're not paying attention. They're not looking. And if you're not looking, then to you, nothing is happening because you're not looking. But as it says here, verse 25, my children, suffer patiently the wrath that has come upon you from God, for thine enemy hath persecuted thee, but shortly thou shalt see his destruction and shalt tread upon his neck. My delicate ones have gone rough ways, and were taken away as a flock caught of the enemies. Be of good comfort, O my children, and cry unto God, for ye shall be remembered of him that brought these things upon you. And that's why we keep that hope alive. It doesn't matter what anybody says. The Lord, okay, the words of the Lord, the scriptures are here to comfort us, and we are told that the Lord will remember us. Okay, we have not been forsaken. We have not been forgotten. As a matter of fact, the whole fact that we know that we're Israelites, that we're able to prophesy, that we're back, that we have the name of the Lord, we have the spirit of the Lord, the prophets are out here, all of that is a testament that the Lord has not forgotten us, that he has actually remembered us. Just like when we were in ancient Egypt and we cried unto the Lord and he raised up Moses, he remembered his covenant with Abraham, his promise, and he delivered us. Well, in this time, the Lord remembered. And that's why we got our heritage and our nationality back. And the Lord is continuing to work. So we got to watch the Lord work. Psalms 119 and 126, right? It is time for thee, O Lord, to work, for they have made void thy law. So it says, read this again, verse 27, be of good comfort, O my children, and cry unto God, for ye shall be remembered of him that brought these things upon you. For as it was your mind to go astray from God, so being returned, seek him 10 times more. Okay. So it doesn't mean that on the 11th time you say, all right, now I'm done. No, it means it's a meaning continuously. Okay. Just put an emphasis on that. You got to continuously seek the Lord, but we're almost out of here. So all this wickedness that we're seeing, it's only a matter of time. Trust me, the Lord's tolerance level is I don't know what it is, but it's not looking, it ain't light. Okay. It's not light. Yep. This is Matazah Lacham 144 Ga. Leviticus 26 and 45. But I will for their sakes remember the covenant of their ancestors, whom I brought forth out of the land of Egypt in the sight of the heathen, that I might be their God. I am the Lord. Khan. Okay, Khan, beautiful. And Lord, please, we're counting on that. We know Yahweh Shai is up there in the spirit world, constantly, putting that into the remembrance of the Lord, constantly on our behalf, pitching our case. So we got to do our best to try and make Yahweh Shai's job easier. If the Lord is fighting for us up there, pleading our case, and yeah, we doing all this manner of craziness over here, that's not helping him, right? So he's helping us. We got to help him. We got to help the Lord help us. Cry unto the Lord. Show that diligence. Do the right thing. Romans 11 and 33. Oh, the depth of the riches, both of the wisdom and knowledge of God. How unsearchable are his judgments and his ways past finding out. Khan. Yep, this is Son of the Right, Shalom. Jeremiah 51 and 5. For Israel hath not been forsaken, nor Judah of his God, of the Lord Yahweh of hosts, though their land was filled with sin against the Holy One of Israel. Yeah, and that's the beauty about our power, Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushai, because as scary as the Lord is, he is also the most merciful. See, and the mercy and the love the Lord has for us, that's eternal. If it wasn't, he wouldn't have made an eternal promise. And that eternal promise bound him to us eternally. The fact that he made that promise, that it's actually written, we can go back to the scriptures. Obviously, this is hypothetical. But if the Lord was to ever say, nah, I'm done with y'all, we can go back to the scriptures and say, but wait, Lord, you promised. You said this. The accounts are here. The message you gave to your prophets to say. The messages of us being delivered, Revelation 15 and 2. Who's that? What's going on there? Are you just going to abolish that? But then you said that you're not a man that you should lie. So the Lord has promised. So obviously the Lord knows that he has put his word out there and he's not going to go back on it. So that means that he had it in mind when he said it, when he put it into the mind of these prophets that he was going to do it. So no matter what the circumstances look like, the Lord is not a liar. And he has already said that we're going to make it out of here and we're going to be in the kingdom. All Israel shall be saved. Even if you just have that one precept, you can go to the Lord with that one precept and say, Lord, look at what these guys are doing. Look at these demons out here and all the wickedness they're doing. It looks like they're about to, eradicate all of us. But you said all Israel shall be saved. So I don't know how you're going to do it, but, we counting on you to do it. We got the Lord's name out there. All right, we got the Lord's name out there, and he's going to show. Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushua is going to show, as he always did and always does. Yep, this is a good one. This is GMS Spiritual Arc 144K, Malachi 3 and 6. For I am the Lord Yahweh, I change not. Therefore, ye sons of Jacob are not consumed. Because if the Lord was to change his mind today, forget it. Just forget it. We're done. I mean, we might as well have been done. He might as well just eradicated us during the time of Adam, because we will be so divinely screwed if the Lord was to get up today and say, because of this one nigga Tyrone, I'm changing my mind. We're screwed. We have no hope, no chance, no nothing. Which goes to show you that everything that we are hoping for is banking on the mercy of Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushai. Yeah, this is a good one too. Yeah, so many good precepts. Matazah Lachem 144 God, Psalms 124 and 3. A song of degrees of David. If it had not been the Lord who was on our side, now may Israel say, if it had not been the Lord who was on our side when men rose up against us, then they had swallowed us up quick with their wrath, or when their wrath was kindled against us. But what? The spirit and power of Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushai always delivers us. Ecclesiasticus, the 2nd chapter. That is a beautiful precept, a beautiful chapter to read. And it mentions in there, look at the generations of old. That's why the Lord has these records. Go back and check the records. If you want to see the Lord's reputation, go back and check the records. Was there any that trusted in the Lord that was forsaken? No. Or the seed of the righteous begging bread? No. All they that trusted in the Lord were taken care of. And there's numerous accounts of that. Okay, so right there, that you have no excuse to be faithless. This is GMS Spiritual Arc 144K, Psalms 138, verse 2. I will worship toward thy holy temple and praise thy name for thy loving kindness and for thy truth, for thou hast magnified the word above all thy name. And that's a beautiful thing, man. The mercy, the grace, and the love from Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahweh Shai. So I'm going to finish it off on this. This is Stay in the Spirit 144. Shalom, shalom. Psalms 110 and 1, a psalm of David. The Lord Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahweh Shai said unto my Lord, sit thou at my right hand until I make thine enemies thy footstool. Yahweh Shai got to get his. Oh, he most definitely is. He most definitely is. As it says, he shall scream like a travailing woman. So, I mean, and I'll say this last thing, right? Say you're on a team, maybe you're on I don't know, whatever team it is, right? And you have the captain, right? That maybe he gives you a pep talk or whatever the case is. And then he just, when he gets hype, the whole team gets hype. Okay. When he gets in the zone and he's on it and he's on fire, that energy permeates through the whole team. So imagine when Yahweh Shai comes back in his power, in his glory, with all the patience that he has had, and he lets out that all that patience just comes out in the form of just pure energy. I mean, imagine like a war cry. What do you think that's going to do to all of us? Being changed, being ready, there with him. And the Lord is just ready. He's ready. We going to be ready. When the captain himself, right? The captain of our salvation is ready. He's fired up. Hell yeah, we're going to be fired up. So hey man, it's gonna be a beautiful day. It's gonna be a beautiful day. Yahweh got to do it for Yahweh Shai. We just beneficiaries. Yeah, God, yeah, because he did promise. He promised Yahweh Shai. Yahweh Shai went through it. So Yahweh Shai paid, and now he's waiting for his purchase to go through, and we win. And say, Lord, you get yours, we get ours. He pieces off a little bit. But anyway, I'm gonna end it here. Lord willing, that was edifying to the elect. The water for the precepts. The water for tuning in. And in closing, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Rachak, Kodash. Until next time, Shalom.